So today, the Federal Reserve's not only going to tell us what they're going to do to interest rates, they're also going to come out with their new dot plot. So if you're confused, I'm going to tie this all up for you. So in 4 hours and 5 minutes, the Federal Reserve is going to come out and tell us what exactly they're going to do. So to get a precursor to this, let's get over to the markets right now because there is a little bit of information, just a little bit of information coming in this morning that the federal officials are going to be able to look at some key inflationary metrics just hours before this data comes in. What is that matrix or what is the data? Well, let me let Rick Santelli at CNBC take it away for you and give you this information. And then after this, I'm going to come back and tell you exactly how this is all playing a role in the markets. So Rick, take it away for me, buddy.
Rick Santelli, he is going to have those numbers in just about 5 seconds' time. Rick.
Yes, we are awaiting our May read on the Consumer Price Index. And of course, this is expected to be a big deal for the Fed, which meets today, by the way, and it is hitting the wires. Unchanged on headline month-over-month CPI, unchanged. As was pointed out, we're expecting up 0.1%. Unchanged is the lowest level going all the way back to May of 2020. So we'll call it 4 years when it was minus 1/10. We've had several reads that have been zero. Now, if we look at ex-food and energy month over month, up 0.2, also, as Becky pointed out, 1/10 lighter than expectations, 1/10 lighter than the rear view mirror, up 0.2. Last time we were at 0.2, well, it was October of last year. To find a lower number, up 1/10, you're going to August of 2021. Now, the year-over-year numbers, 3.3 on year-over-year headline, 1/10 lighter than both expectations and the rear view mirror. 3.3 is the lightest going back to February when it was 3.2. We started the year at 3.1. And finally, ex-food and energy or core year-over-year, expected 3.5. Last look, 3.6, comes in at 3.4. 3.4 is the lightest level going back to, and this is a long way. We're going all the way back basically 3 years to April of 21 when it was 3.0. Even last month's 3.6 comp to April of 2021 because there's a real void there by the way it shot up so aggressively post-COVID.
So all the numbers are coming in actually very good, or I'd say much better than even analysts expected. If you want to figure that out, let's go right here. This is my calendar. So here's exactly what came in. So this is key metrics that the Federal Reserve monitors, the CPI. What that is consumer inflation. Okay, so let's break these down real quick. If you have month over month core inflation, what that means is they stripped out food and energy. That number went from 0.3. It was expected to stay at 0.3. It went down to 0.2. Good number. The next thing is headline CPI, just month over month. It keeps in the food and energy, which this is the area of like, it depends on when they check oil prices because this could be a major impact there. Look at it. It went from 0.3. They were expecting it to drop all the way down to 0.1. It came in flat. They haven't seen this in, I think he said 3 or 4 years. That's fantastic news. Year over year headline CPI, 3.4 was expected. The last number, 3.4, is what was expected, came in at 3.3. And then the Moneyball number, year over year core CPI was 3.6. Now it's at 3.4 and is expected to 3.5. So these numbers are fantastic. What's going on in the MBS market right now? Well, let's shrink this right now to get this out of the way. Here's what MBSs are doing right now. MBSs are up 47 points. That means rates are going to ease down a little bit. They're probably going to go down. We might probably see 6.99% by this afternoon. So that's what's going on right there. Let's see how the markets are reacting. Holy snikes. Dow Jones is up 300. The S&P's up 1%. NASDAQ is up over 1.5%. Let's see what cryptocurrencies are doing because they trade on this as well. Bitcoin is up $2,000. And let's check oil. Oil is going to be up. Yeah, oil's up a little bit just on the euphoria of all this information. So here's also some information coming out that a lot of people, and even myself, wasn't expecting. Rate decisions coming out today, but there's going to also be a new dot plot. Okay, so what is the dot plot? Well, I'm glad you asked. The dot plot is right through here. If you go to the CME Fed Watch tool, which tells you what's the likelihood the Federal Reserve will change the federal funds rate at the next meeting, here's the probabilities of those things. But let's go over to the dot plot so you can see this. I'm sorry, let's go to the chart. And this is the dot plot. So let me explain this to you. So we have to understand, to make sense of this, you have to understand where the federal funds rate is, because that's what the Federal Reserve controls. The federal funds rate right now is right through this area, right through here. It's 5.25 to 5.5. So it's up through this area here. All right, so this is the dot plot that the Federal Reserve created the last time. So what happens is members of the Federal Reserve, they sit here at the meetings 4 times a year, and they put a dot on where they expect the federal funds rate to be. Okay, right now it's 5.25 to 5.5. So we're right up in this area right through here. All right, so this was what was telling us there's going to be multiple rate cuts because this is from the Fed. All right, then it goes off to 2025, 2026, and longer out. So this is what they're going to revise today, and this will be a game changer, depending on how many members. Like right through here, the majority of the members said the federal funds rate should be 4.5 to 4.75 by the end of the year. And again, guys, we're at 5.25 to 5.5. So that's why a lot of people were saying, well, there's going to be, or there has to be rate cuts to bring us into this range. So again, not only is the Fed going to come out with what they're going to do with rates, they're also going to come out with a new dot plot to help us understand where the market's taking us from here. And then also now what we see is rate cuts, the odds are increasing. So we go back to the CME Fed Watch tool and let's look at the probabilities of what's going to happen with rates here now. So right through here, here's what you got to understand. Let me get my head out of the way again. Right through here is where the federal funds rate is right now. So there is 100%, there is no chance in the world the Federal Reserve is going to cut the rates. This was been trading at like 98 to 99%. Now it's at 100. Okay, so now here's the interesting point right through here. Basically an 85% chance they're going to do nothing in July, but these numbers are starting to increase. Yesterday, this wasn't even a 50% chance of changing or rates coming down at the 9/18 meeting. Now there's over a 61% probability that the rates are going to be cut at the 9/18 meeting. So that's basically on the probability calculations from the CME. But again, the dot plot's going to help us considerably kind of figure all this stuff out. So without further ado, let's get over to where mortgage rates are so you can understand that. Here's where mortgage rates are. This is going to come down, I promise you. If you're out there, here's something I can help you guys out with. So we locked in a bunch of people yesterday. Why? I didn't truly know what these numbers are going to come in at. So if the numbers would have came in more aggressive, rates would have spiked and they would have went really high. So we lock in all of our borrowers yesterday. So now here's what's happening. Because we're a broker, I'm going to go back to my lenders who I basically, for the customers I locked in and say, hey, can we renegotiate these rates? If the lender says no, which they most likely will, I'll say, well, then just withdraw the application. I'm going to move my borrower to another lender to capture this lower rate. So I wanted to ask you this. Have you been locked in? Will your lender allow you to do that? Because we probably see a considerable reduction in rates today. So send me your loan estimate. So if you got a loan estimate from another company, send it over to me. And I really want to know if it's locked. Okay, if it's floating, I can't really do anything with it. So if your rate is still floating, I want you to ask your lender, what would it be to be locked? What would the rates and the fees look like? Send that to me. I'm going to analyze it with over now at least 30 different lenders to see if we can get you a lower rate, lower fees, or maybe both of them. But if you're out there and you're like, hey, Dan, now that rates are starting to come down, it's starting to whet my appetite a little bit to buy my first house. What do I need to do? Well, first off, check and see if if there's any grants available for you. There's grants in here. It's basically a grant search tool that'll find you grants up to $7,500 that don't need paid back. Okay, these are basically, I won't say free money, but they're unrecoverable. You don't have to make payments, and it's not a lien on your home. So it's a fantastic tool to have. But if you want to get the ball rolling and you're like, hey, Dan, I want to just see, can I qualify? What I ask you to do is please don't disqualify yourself. So click the Apply Now button and put in an application. We'd really love to help you navigate this scenario. But if you're out there and you're like, Dan, can I call? Can I talk to you on the phone? Yeah, you can do that as well. You can call 844-775-5626, or maybe even just email me directly and I'll answer your question right through there. So any which way you need help with, please reach out to us. We'd love to help. We will be live later this afternoon when the Federal Reserve comes out and tells us what they're going to do. We'll do that, a live event, show you the market reactions that are taking place, and then answer any of the questions that you guys might have, especially if you're a first-time home buyer in this market. So my name is Dan Frio. I'm a licensed loan officer in all 50 states as well as Puerto Rico. I'd love to help you if you're trying to navigate the housing market in 2024. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to go to our website, therateupdate.com. Check out a whole bunch of tools we have up here to help you navigate this environment. Thanks so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you later this afternoon on our live event. Bye-bye.